What's up, Wall fans, Common Sensors, podcast consumers? Welcome to the video feed for episode 51 of Common Sense Sundays with Go Tell It to the Wall, hosted by me, of course, your absolute favorite podcast host, the one and only Sean O'Rourke. Special 4th of July episode today just happens to correspond with a Sunday. Not quite the star-spangled episode that we've done in the past. However, we'll have some 4th of July themed things as we go throughout this particular episode, that is episode 51. All right, with all that being said, let's just get right into it, because I know everyone out there is eager to get to their barbecues and stuff. Or if you're one of our international listeners, which we do have a lot of, we have a very big following, especially in the UK. It's just a normal Sunday for you. So, all that being said, let's get into episode 51.
Who 1, 2, 3, go tell it to the wall. Tell it to the wall. Go tell it to the wall. Tell it to the wall.
All right, Wall fans, Common Sensors, podcast consumers, welcome to episode 51 of Common Sense Sundays with Go Tell It to the Wall, hosted by me, of course, your absolute favorite podcast host, the one and only Sean O'Rourke. It is a very special episode today. Not really. It just happens to correspond with the 4th of July. Now, you might remember a couple years ago with Go Tell It to the Wall, we did a star-spangled episode, special guests and all. No live feed today, but we do have the video feed getting into the studio a little bit earlier. That's going to give me some time to eat a ridiculous amount of hot dogs. Not quite as much as Joey Chestnut, but we'll talk about that a little further on in the episode. But before we get to all that, we always kick things off with our social plugs. You can keep up with us during episodes, after episodes, for episodes, whenever you so please, and you can do that in multiple locations. One of those would be facebook.com/GoTellItToTheWall. That's right, facebook.com/GoTellItToTheWall. Follow our page. That's going to be your location as far as Facebook goes to keep up with everything that is Go Tell It to the Wall, Common Sense Sundays, and Sean O'Rourke Live. And of course, YouTube. Head on over to YouTube. We have our YouTube channel. Search Go Tell It to the Wall. Subscribe to our channel. You're going to find all of our video feeds that get posted after the fact. Our live feeds, from when we used to do live feeds, are still up there. Our beer reviews, our parenting playlists, our mental health Mondays, all that good stuff right there on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed, because that's where all of the videos are. Some of them get posted elsewhere, but all of the videos are featured right there on our YouTube channel. Of course, my own personal Instagram account, which is at SoCalSean, SoCalSean. That's right, at SoCalSean. That one, more action happening on there, because I have a lot of travel photos from the epic road trip. I've just been basking in the glory of completing this epic road trip for the past week or so, because it's one of those things. It's a bit of an it seems silly, because it's like, well, no, not silly. Drove across the country and back in a giant RV. Creating hopefully some good memories. Definitely for my wife, but it's always funny. You wonder what a 4-year-old's going to remember when she gets older. But all those photos, they're going to be posted up there on the Instagram. So make sure you're following the Instagram there, or whatever they call it, whatever the kids say, however you do it on Instagram. It's not friend requests. I can't keep all of it's different things. Like you follow, you subscribe, you do, I don't know, whatever. Instagram, at SoCalSean. And of course, our website, SeanO'RourkeLive.com. That's right, SeanO'RourkeLive.com. Your one-stop shop for everything I just mentioned, because you're going to be able to link to everything, including the YouTube channel. You don't even have to search. You just click the link right there. That's going to be your one-stop shop for everything and anything that is Go Tell It to the Wall, Common Sense Sundays, or Sean O'Rourke Live, including our Patreon campaign. I always call it a campaign. Our Patreon page. Head on over there if you have the means to do so and help us out financially. Every little bit helps. $1, $2, $3, whatever it might be, and you spend enough, and you can get your name on the epic wall supporters board that I have right here behind me. We got to fill that up a little bit still. There's, I have stickers that need to go on this wall behind me. I got names that got to go, and it's 4-year-old running around. It's tough to do things like stickers, because then she just takes the stickers and starts putting them everywhere else, and I'm like, whoa. Those were supposed to go over there, but I digress. And of course, our merch page, you can pick up some Go Tell It to the Wall Common Sense merch right there through SeanO'RourkeLive.com. It'll take you straight to the merch site, so pick up some cool merch. And happy 4th of July. As I said, it is the 4th of July. A little star-spangled episode, I guess you could say, for those of you that are in the United States and celebrating today. I will be kind of celebrating. I'm going to eat some hot dogs and probably drink a few beers here and and sit outside with a hose because I live in an area of Los Angeles that goes ridiculous with fireworks. So I don't take fire lightly. So part of my day is going to be spent making sure my house doesn't burn down. I did put my flag up past couple days. It's actually my California state flag. Nothing against the U.S. flag. I have no problem with the U.S. flag. I just don't own a U.S. flag. So I'm hanging my California state flag right now. And I know I'm going to get some. The funny thing is I'm going to get some hate mail on that. Wow, you don't want to fly an American flag. And most of those people are going to be people that fly their own state flags. And be like, what's the difference? You're just mad because I live in California. Get your priorities straight. And new logo before we get on to digital trends. New logo is done after a furious back and forth. The one person that's going to hear this is going to laugh at that. There was no furious back and forth. We just kind of finally finalized the new logo. That's going to be unveiled this week. We're going to get that out to everybody. So hopefully everyone likes the new logo. It's something a lot of you have seen. It's just been updated. So that's going to be exciting this week. All right. Now, we move on to digital trends on this fine 4th of July. Yeah. It'll be interesting. It's early in the day, but I think we'll still get some fireworks during the episode here. There's just been 4th of July. It's like a couple months long celebration here in Los Angeles as far as fireworks go. And my favorite thing is when you get up, like I'll be having coffee at like 9 o'clock in the morning, you hear fireworks, and it's like it's not even fucking dark out yet. What are you guys doing? But okay. And like I said before, it's the same people that hang the truck nuts off their tailgate are the people setting off fireworks. Like, we get it. You're compensating. You got to compensate somehow. All right, digital trends. Hashtag YouTubers versus TikTokers. This was trending recently on the Twitter and on a couple other social platforms. I don't even really understand why, and I didn't care to fully research and actually understand why, simply because I don't get the whole TikToking trend. Influencers, YouTubers, all this other stuff. Like, okay, that's fine. I would never ever call myself a YouTuber. You want to call yourself a YouTuber? That's fine. People make a lot of money off of YouTube. But all I could envision when I saw this hashtag was the scene from West Side Story. Those of you old enough to be familiar with the film West Side Story, where they come out to fight and they like snap, and then they start dancing. Like, that's what I envision a YouTubers versus TikTokers fight would look like. Just millennials and Gen Zers flying all over the place, dancing and snapping their fingers. Yeah. So if you're interested, find out why they're feuding on the social platforms. To me, it's kind of the same thing. You just have a little more privacy with YouTube. I don't use TikTok. Look, we always say, oh, just click on the privacy settings, whatever. No, take a look at the privacy settings for TikTok. There's a little bit more going on there. All right, hashtag Loserpalooza. This started trending yesterday. The Orange Menace had a rally, because that's still what we have rallies, I guess. For some reason needs to have these MAGA rallies. I don't understand what people are doing, celebrating the losing candidate for president, but I digress. So, of course, hashtag Loserpalooza starts trending. And my favorite part about this was planes were flying over this rally with stuff like Trump lost the election banners. One of them had like the lighted wings that just said loser flying over. So, of course, people ran with hashtag Loserpalooza. Still don't understand what people are doing going to these rallies. And it was great because I believe it was in Florida or somewhere where there was a lot of rain. So the few pictures I saw were people just wearing trash bags to keep the rain off of themselves. And I actually did feel a little bit of pity for them, because I was in Florida dealing with thunderstorms, driving through a tropical storm, but dealing with just thunderstorms in general. And it gets kind of wet down there. I'd forgotten, because it'd been 31 years, and it gets very wet down there in Florida and certain areas around there. And especially, we're going to talk about that little tropical storm that's rolling through. So, Loserpalooza, check it out. This is one that's just going to make you laugh. This one, I was confused when I saw this trending, and I was happy to see the backlash. And now, past couple days, Brett Favre was trending on social platforms, and we're going to talk about the common sense side of what spawned his trending on the social platforms. As we talk about the Olympic sprinter, the U.S. Olympic sprinter who has been banned from competition for a month. Somebody pointed out that Brett Favre, when he lost his father, if you're not familiar with the story, we'll get to it later in the show. When he lost his father, went out and played a football game, and actually, it's well known if you follow football at all. 4 touchdowns, blah, 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 great stats. And people said, you know what, he didn't go out and smoke marijuana when his father passed away, he went out and did this game. And it was great because he actually got dragged. And I almost felt bad for Brett Favre because he didn't start this. Someone else put this thing out there, and they're like, look at his stats. And everyone ran with it appropriately because, sure, Brett Favre didn't smoke some marijuana, but I would like to remind everybody and this is still pretty much the case, especially with football players. They're loaded up with opioids, Vicodin, Percocet, all kinds of things. Brett Favre was famously known for taking a lot of drugs before games. Real drugs, not marijuana. Real drugs, opioids, has admitted to it, at times admitted to taking 2 months worth of painkillers in like 2 days, went to rehab, literally went to rehab for painkillers. So this is probably not the hill to die on when it comes to comparing another professional athlete. And on top of that, let's never forget that Brett Favre enjoys sending dick pics to reporters out there among the NFL world. Yes, that actually happened. It's confirmed. These things happen. Maybe let's figure out who we're trying to lift up on a pedestal and do a little bit of Googling. It'll take you 2 seconds to Google it and you would see that this is not the person to compare. Not at all. Not at all. And let's stop with the whole we know that they are all doing lots of painkillers. And in fact, track athletes could be doing these painkillers as well and would not get in trouble for them necessarily. But God forbid they smoke a little bit of marijuana. We're going to get into more of that when it comes to common sense. Another trending thing right now on digital media is things being deleted. It seems as though the Capitol rioters, the terrorists that stormed the Capitol, have been deleting their proud social media posts, like the dude sitting behind a desk, the dude standing at the podium. We all saw it. It's all over the place. So now a lot of them are deleting these posts in order to keep from incriminating themselves. The greatest part here is 99 times out of 100, those posts are recoverable. They're still on a server somewhere. Someone else shared it. They're going to be able to find them. You're not really covering your tracks. But, of course, people are going to do everything they can to be like, oh, no, I was not at the Capitol, but here's you sitting at Nancy Pelosi's desk. Yes, well, no, but I wasn't actually there. Okay, all right, so we'll see how that goes. I'm enjoying following these court cases because they're guilty, just left and right. Because, what's your excuse? You're trespassing. You stormed the Capitol. It's absolutely amazing that these things are really happening. It's just such a world we live in. And they think I deleted it. Oh, I've covered my tracks. No. Have you ever seen CSI? No, I'm just kidding. CSI is a little over the top, but they find things. We have agencies that are trained and spend years finding things and doing detective work. They're going to find your posts. They're going to find video of you storming the Capitol. So don't waste your time. Just leave it up there and own it. You were proud of it in the moment. Own it. Oh, Nikki Haley. Speaking of terrorists, I know. Here comes the hate mail. Nikki Haley's not a terrorist. I know she's not. She may as well be, though. If you really look at it. She's in the news recently for some reason because I think she just hangs out at Trump rallies. I don't know. She's not actually a government official anymore. She has stated that Olympic athletes need to respect the flag, and if they don't respect the flag, they shouldn't be able to compete for the United States in the Olympics. I don't even want to fully unpack this because I completely disagree, and I would like to remind everyone out there that there is an iconic photo from an Olympic Games, and you all know it, where 2 U.S. men's sprinters are standing on the podium, first and second place, and they have their fists raised in the air. They caught a ton of flack for that at the time. Now we look back on it as a huge, iconic moment in Olympic history and in the human rights, civil rights movement. So let's see which side of history Nikki Haley's going to be on over the next couple generations. But even beyond that, I don't want to get into unpacking it too much, but what I will say is I'd love to see the same amount of fervor and passion from these people saying respect the flag when it comes to the Confederate flag. Because she has absolutely nothing to say about the Confederate flag flying everywhere and anywhere that she goes. It's flying at rallies, that you see them at rallies. Never has, not the fast food restaurant, the Trump rallies, the loser paloozas. You see them flying like crazy. I want to see the same energy there. I could almost respect your energy wanting the flag respected at the Olympic Games if you could bring that same energy against the flag of traitors and racists and people who were pro-slavery. Come on, let's think about it. Oh, man. More digital trends, too. I've got another one here. The San Francisco Gate. They put out an article. I always want to call them a newspaper. I'm that old, but I think they're just a digital publication. San Francisco Gate, SF Gate. They put out an article saying that Solvang is basically the adult Disneyland. And, of course, they got dragged on social media. Now, nothing against Solvang. I very much enjoy Solvang. Usually we go there like once a year. Solvang is a place you go and you have some breakfast. There's actually a really great, I don't know if it's still there since the pandemic, there's a great Italian restaurant that we tend to go hit up when we do our wine drinking excursion in December, that we weren't able to do last December. But, of course, they got dragged. Because if you've ever been to Solvang, it's very nice. You go there, you get some maple skeevers, some pastries, look at a couple windmills, and you're out. It's like a 40-minute excursion. If you're eating a full lunch, sit-down lunch, maybe it's an hour-and-a-half excursion. Not that much to do there. It's not Disneyland. If anything, the place not far from Solvang, called Los Olivos, is closer to the adult Disneyland. Now, that doesn't mean all of you should go visit it in December, because I don't like it as crowded as it can get. I'm just kidding. Everyone has the right to go there. But it's just funny to me that Solvang has become the adult Disneyland. And if you really like pea soup, I guess, like if you're all about the pea soup, maybe it's closer to a Disneyland. You're like windmills are the greatest thing you've ever seen in your life. Maybe it's closer to a Disneyland. But nothing against Solvang. Lovely place to visit. Lovely place. And apparently it's been very crowded lately, which is just people need things to do, I guess. So go to Solvang and check out some windmills. I would recommend hitting Los Olivos instead. That is it's adult Disneyland for wine drinkers, and I'm not even a big wine drinker. However, I love hitting up some Los Olivos wine tasting. Highly recommend. Even if you're just moderately into wine, highly recommend it. Great people there, great little town, and you can spend a day or two going around and doing some wine tasting and some eating of those tri-tip sandwiches right there too. If you've been, you know what I'm talking about. All right, let's move on to a couple of COVID updates here. We got word this past week here in Los Angeles, and I'm sure this is happening in other cities around the country, being asked to yet again put on masks while going inside and being around people. Not necessarily outside, but inside and around people. I've said this from the beginning. We keep pulling back on things a little bit too early, and I've been saying from the beginning, like, what about the kids? My kid's still not vaccinated, and now we have this Delta variant that is floating around, and that's what's got everyone freaked out. Now, I was still wearing masks inside. I'm fully vaccinated. I don't trust other people. However, now we're being asked by California to do it again. So for the love of God, just wear a damn mask. I'm going to have to get out the zombie teeth t-shirt again and wear it for one of these episodes if we're getting a lot of backlash on the mask. Just wear the masks. Or don't go into places that are crowded inside. If you really don't want to wear a mask, don't go to those places. Let's knock it off with this childish behavior that so many people have been going through, and just doesn't stop. It's been a year and a half of childish behavior. And definitely avoid super spreader events this weekend. Hopefully everyone's going to be hanging out outside. There is a good chance I'm going to go see a couple friends for a very small barbecue this afternoon and hang out, but we are going to do it outside, and literally everyone there will be vaccinated with the exception of a couple children. So just have fun, but don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. The good thing is 4th of July, for a lot of people here in the U.S., you're spending it outside. The weather's lovely. I don't know if the heat wave broke a little bit up there in the Northwest, but that was wild. The heat wave in the Northwest. I was trying to watch the Olympic trials last weekend, and I was like, why are they doing this at 8:30 at night? And that's because the temperature was like 110. And if you've ever run track or been on the track when it's really hot out, that actually makes the track temperature, because it's a rubber track, the track temperature was 150 degrees. Yeah, that's not safe for people. So I haven't looked if that heat wave is broke. I think it has a little bit, but hopefully people can hang out outside and not be inside and spreading this possible Delta variant that's now floating around everywhere. Around LA, I know there's a couple other countries that are not doing well, and we just still have to be vigilant. Just don't be dumb. Just don't be dumb. If you're feeling a little sick, avoid people. Put on a mask. Take your temperature. Get a COVID test if you have to. Do the things. Just be responsible adults. We can all do it. And be responsible for your kids. For the love of God, think about the kids. All right. Mental health. I want to talk about a couple things with mental health, namely fireworks on this 4th of July. Fireworks, not fun for most people. I don't enjoy fireworks myself. Now, I will watch a fireworks show, a professional one, it's fine. I don't understand the obsession that we have in this country with explosives. Like, I really just don't. What, like, yay, it's loud and bright. Okay, wow. But keep in mind that it's not fun at all for many. Like myself, it's not fun just because I don't like fires and I don't like loudness. But for animals, dogs, you can literally give dogs a heart attack from too much fireworks, too loud of fireworks. We had a dog for years, and every year around the 4th of July, it was horrible. I had to comfort the dog. Now, unfortunately, the dog passed away a few years ago. Now I'm comforting a 4-year-old who also can't stand the fireworks, and basically, I already know she's going to be sleeping in my bed tonight. Like, that's just happening because it's the 4th of July, and it's going to absolutely go off. It's been going off for the past few days, but tonight will be nuts. In fact, if you're not from Southern California, you may not know this, but when you go on social media and you're like, look at the city, and you guarantee one of those is going to be Los Angeles. You just see fireworks going off everywhere, and they're not legal fireworks. They're completely illegal here in the city of Los Angeles, and not to mention our veterans. That's the most mind-blowing thing to me is we're all like, America, explosions, but then we're like, respect the troops, and it's like, you do realize that there are a lot of veterans out there who don't like the sound of fireworks. They have a thing called PTSD. Not all of them, but many of them do. Fireworks not fun for them either. So keep in mind, from a mental health standpoint, other people, you don't need your loud explosions. We get it, you're compensating. And fire, for the love of God. The whole West Coast is on fire right now, and this is just further fire danger. And this was wild, too. And from a mental health standpoint, I don't know if you live in Los Angeles, and even outside of Los Angeles, I think this made the news. The LAPD, they seized like 50,000 pounds of something like that, something crazy, illegal fireworks in South LA. And they had a bomb squad truck that they loaded up with the fireworks. And I haven't even gotten confirmation if they meant to detonate the fireworks or they just detonated. In the middle of a neighborhood block, 17 people injured, cars just destroyed. The bomb squad vehicle was just like on its side, destroyed. Huge explosion. There's video of the explosion out there if you care to check it out. And it was wild. I'm watching the live coverage on the news. I'm actually sitting in my backyard on the deck because I'd done some grilling the other day. And I'm watching the news, and I can hear fireworks all around my neighborhood, illegal fireworks, as I'm watching footage of this truck explode and the aftermath of them carrying people out. Windows on houses blown out, cars that were near the bomb squad vehicle literally flipped over. That's what we're talking about. Not these are explosives. If somebody strapped a bunch of fireworks to themselves and walked into a big crowd, we would all start calling them a terrorist. Yet here in my neighborhood, that's just a normal thing for about 2 months around the 4th of July. It kind of starts with Memorial Day and ends at Labor Day, but it gets really bad around the 4th of July. And like I said, if you're curious, you can see footage of Los Angeles shooting off illegal fireworks that they'll be popping up tonight, as well as lots of social media posts of terrible fireworks video footage. It's just like I'm always enamored by that. The people that they need to take their own video of fireworks. Look at these fireworks, and it's like, there's professional shows that you can just like pull up on, right? Nobody cares about your shitty video that you're putting on. But by all means, you need something to make you feel good about yourself in the 4th of July. Parenting's something that makes me feel good about myself. Even with a 4-year-old, it's been challenging lately, but there is a certain reward to parenting that you don't get from fireworks. Of course, except this weekend, we'll have to comfort my daughter because it's going to be a long night of fireworks that my kid does not like. She'll be sleeping in my bed. Guarantee it. That's just happening tonight. I don't plan on getting a lot of sleep. The good thing is, with the way it falls this year, it's actually a holiday tomorrow, so my wife will not have to work, so I don't have to worry about my wife getting extra sleep before she's going and sitting in meetings, So that is the one good thing is we'll have tomorrow to recover. However, please just think of the dogs, think of the veterans, think of the kids. It's not fun for any of them, and I know for many of you parents out there, it's going to be a challenge tonight, and really has been for a couple days, and maybe will tonight, and maybe for a couple more days, especially depending on where you are in the country. Like I said last week, fireworks stands everywhere, and I see people posting. People are even in my dad's group. They're like, post all your fireworks, and I see guys standing there with just like tons of explosives, and it's like, that's cool, man. Like, do you? And a lot of times they're in an area where it is legal to do it, but it gets especially frustrating, like I said, here in Los Angeles, where it's completely illegal. And just, I went from dealing with a dog to dealing with a child that doesn't like fireworks, so it's just kind of one thing or the other. But I do have a tip before we move on to some common sense. We're common sense filled this week. But as I was watching my daughter and my wife do it this morning, recommendation, road trip wise, but just in general, we picked up, actually got for my wife one of these little Polaroid printers. They print, smaller than the traditional Polaroid photos that we remember from the 80s. They're kind of these smaller ones. Prints them out, and you can print directly from your phone. You can also print from computers and everything else. So on the road trip, we carried this printer with us and also bought my 4-year-old an album that fits the little photos perfectly. So she was able, throughout the trip, to take photos with her camera. We were taking photos with our phones, also with my bigger camera. And as we traveled, she was picking photos to print because this portable printer, you just load it with paper and boom, prints out the photos. And then this morning, they were actually pulling the last of the road trip photos to finish filling up her album. Highly, highly recommend this. I mean, just in general, even if you don't have kids, it's a pretty cool little device to have. But especially if you have kids going on a trip, road trip, great way to entertain them without actual screens and stuff. By all means, if you need screens for the kids, do it. But find other ways, and this is a great way to do that. And also stimulating her creative side because she's taking photos, she's picking photos to put into her album to remember her trip, and then it's this big memory of a giant road trip we took. It doesn't have to be a road trip, any kind of trip you take. You can have this printer and use these. Highly, highly recommend it. Like I said, even without kids. But if you have kids of a certain age, they're just going to love it. They're absolutely going to love it because they get to be creative, create their own little photo album. And we don't see a lot of paper photo albums anymore. They're underappreciated. We have them in my house. A few of them, especially with old photos, but you don't see it as much. It's all Facebook photo albums. There's nothing wrong with that either, but sometimes it's nice to have a little photo album to flip through. My kid really enjoys the photo albums, so I was happy that we were able to do that, and cannot recommend it enough. All right, common sense. I told you we're common sense heavy this week. It is Common Sense Sundays, episode 51. I want to talk about the Olympic sprinter who was suspended. I saw this the other night when it happened. I immediately posted. And it's funny because the next morning, all the articles were mentioning the same thing that I mentioned. So the sprinter who was the number one qualifier in the 100 meters, female sprinter, she is suspended for a month because she had a positive test for cannabis. And I pointed out the fact that she could be getting blackout drunk every single night. She could have run the race drunk, and it wouldn't matter. And in fact, from an Olympic standpoint, they serve liquor and alcohol in the Olympic Village, which is where all of the athletes stay. At every single Olympics, regardless of the country, they serve alcohol. It's almost encouraged. However, a little bit of marijuana, you're suspended for a month. And this is the most ridiculous thing that could possibly be happening. And I will point out, people have dug up some old social media posts from this sprinter. And I don't want to get into all of that. Maybe that's something we unpack at a later date. It doesn't change the fact that this rule is outdated. She ran the trials in Oregon. The U.S. Olympic trials are always held in Oregon. Beautiful. Oh, my God. Bill Bowerman Stadium up there. It's a beautiful facility. Even if you're not a track fan, but as a track fan who grew up idolizing Steve Prefontaine, it is the holy grail of track fields, track and field stadiums. It's legal, recreationally legal in the state of Oregon, legal to do it. Now, she could have also been using a bunch of painkillers, much the way Brett Favre did. That would have been okay. But no, as soon as a little bit of marijuana, and don't get me started, performance-enhancing drug, yeah. Okay. I am very pro-cannabis. You should know this. I am a cannabis user myself. I live in California. It's been medically legal for years and years. It's been recreationally legal for a couple years. I'm not going out and running a 10.8 something 100 meters after smoking a joint. Just not happening. Not happening. Let's move past this. We absolutely need to move past this ridiculousness, especially the double standard when compared to alcohol. That's all it is. And regardless of what was in her past, we need to stand up for this before it happens to another Olympic hopeful, another athlete out there who simply just smoked a little bit of marijuana. And there's also the fact that it's better for you than a lot of opioids. So let's let athletes use it for pain management as opposed to a bunch of Vicodin or Percocet, stuff that can destroy your body. Oh, man. More Olympic news. Olympic swim caps. Now, you might not be familiar with swim caps. There's people wear them on their head. I own a couple from doing triathlons, and my hair is usually when I was doing triathlons was even shorter than this. It was no problem, just straight down. But what they did is they made inclusive swim caps. Now this is for people, especially women of color, who have longer hair that you cannot like squeeze into a swim cap. Well, the International Olympic Committee decided that those are banned at Olympic competition because they are not approved swim caps. And this is clearly just a racist move by the International Olympic Committee because there's no advantage. In fact, if anything, it's a disadvantage to be wearing a bigger swim cap because you're less aerodynamic in the water. And I will say, based on this, it's getting really, really difficult, especially these past couple stories, to even enjoy the Olympics anymore. I don't know how much of it I'm going to watch this year. I still love watching my track and field. I'm a sucker for track and field, but I probably won't be watching a lot of it this year just because they make it so difficult. Let them wear the swim caps. Just let her run. It's ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. And you know how I feel about the Olympics when it comes to what they do to certain cities. And I'll have to be dealing with it here in 2028, I think is when the Olympics are coming next. And it's funny, I was hanging with my buddy Kevin, big supporter of the show, a week ago. And he mentioned, because I didn't live in Los Angeles. I was still living in Florida at the time. But the 84 Olympics, his father, that were in Los Angeles. And his father was like, we're getting out of town. He was a young kid at the time. He said, we're getting out of town. And they went on a big road trip to avoid Los Angeles during the Olympics. And I told my wife when the Olympics were announced for Los Angeles, I was like, we might just rent out our house and leave town for a month and a half because I don't want to deal with the madness that is the Olympics here in Los Angeles. All right, moving along there. More sporting stuff. Apologies for all the sports stuff, but it's socially relevant here. All of it. We had a high school basketball team down there in San Diego, Coronado High School. They won the CIF championship. That's the California Interscholastic Federation. Every state has, these governing bodies for high school sports. They won the section championship for down there in San Diego and got into some controversy because after the game, they played a team that was mostly Latino. This is boys basketball. And after the game, fans of Coronado High School actually started throwing tortillas at the other team. Yes, tortillas. Obviously racist undertone to this. And since then, the CIF has ruled and stripped them of their title, which there's been a lot of discussion of whether this is fair to the athletes or not. And you know what? At this point, I don't care about the young athletes anymore. Make sure your school is better. You want to play sports for your school, be the example, set the precedent that you want for your high school, middle school, whatever it is, for your college. Set that precedent. So they were rightfully stripped of their title. And I will tell you, Coronado, for those of you not familiar with it, you have to pay a toll to go to Coronado. It's a small island over there. You take the Coronado Bridge, and if you don't live in Coronado, you pay a little toll to go into Coronado. You got to pay to go into this little community over there. So nothing against Coronado, but I'm not shocked that there's some racism going on over there because it's a mostly white community in San Diego. I love you, San Diego, but you're freaking me out, just like the song. I love you, San Diego, but you're constantly freaking me out. And of course, this is obviously a racist move by the fans of Coronado High School. So I'm glad to see that their title was stripped. All right, we're going to lighten it up a little bit. I want to talk about Sonic Burger, Sonic whatever. They sell all. You see these commercials, and I'm always like, ooh, that stuff looks good. That stuff looks great. Well, on our travels, we're in, I think, Texas, and I just needed a cheeseburger. I'm like, what's the nearest? So we get off, and there's a Sonic. I'm like, I've never had Sonic. Let's get Sonic. So I get a cheeseburger and fries and stuff. My wife gets some. My wife and daughter get like some chicken strips. And we're eating it. And afterward, I went, that was just not good. And I hadn't had a lot of fast food over the past year and a half. So I was like, maybe I just don't like fast food anymore. Well, sure enough, I'd had a couple more burgers. I had a Whataburger and I had a Wendy's. And I'm not saying those are great burgers. But what I am saying is Sonic was truly terrible. Truly terrible. Like, avoid Sonic. Don't eat food there. Now, I have been told that the slushies, which are kind of like slush puppies, I'm all about, those are pretty good. So maybe get some of those, but avoid the food. But it also got me thinking from a common sense standpoint. There's always these arguments about fast food restaurants, like In-N-Out versus Whataburger and all this other stuff. And I actually found myself talking to somebody on our travels about this, It's such a funny debate. And if you want to have fun with it, debate with other people, like what's better. And, the Whataburger argument is always like, we have bacon. In-N-Out doesn't have bacon. It's like, okay, well, that's fine. If you love bacon on your burger, that's totally fine. But here's the thing with fast food, is everyone kind of has their favorite. And a lot of times, it's not even because it's great fast food. The best example I can give you is I really enjoy White Castle. I grew up with White Castle in Chicago. Love it. Love the little sliders. Fully recognize that White Castle is not good. It's not gourmet food. It's shitty steam burgers. You ever check out a YouTube video if you just actually see how they make the burger. It's not good food. However, I like it because I grew up with it. So we all have our preferences, a lot of times geographically based and based on what we grew up with. And having the debate over what's better is just, it's always kind of ridiculous. It really is. Have your preferences. You know? Have your preferences. If you want to have a friendly debate about it, that's fine. But people get way too upset about certain things. Now, of course, when it comes to Chick-fil-A, completely avoid Chick-fil-A for you don't need that hatefulness. And I think it's far and away, this is my one opinion I'll give, the Popeyes chicken sandwich, far and away the best of the chicken sandwich wars that are happening right now. And I've heard this from multiple people. I have a Popeyes chicken sandwich problem at the moment. I ate 2 of them last Sunday. 2 of them. That's so good. But let's just calm down with the debate. Let everyone love what they love. But avoid Sonic. Good Lord, it was not good. I ate it, and it didn't make me sick, but it's like, what am I felt like I was eating a microwave frozen hamburger that you'd buy at the store, like pre-made hamburgers. It's like, what the hell is this? French fries weren't even good. All right, more fireworks stuff. Ocean City. Did you see this happen this morning? Ocean City, Maryland. There's like a boardwalk there. It's real well known. Their professional fireworks show went off prematurely. Explosions all over the place in Ocean City, Maryland. And now, of course, when can we just stop with the fireworks? I'm going to say it again. Because even the professional shows have problems. I don't remember years ago, San Diego does a fireworks show, and they had it like on the water. They had an issue where the grand finale like caught, and it was what should have been like however long fireworks was. I don't even know, like 10 minutes. What should have been like a 10-minute show ended up being like 30 seconds, blowing up everywhere. And there was Simi Valley a few years ago where they had a fireworks, and this is very common. High schools, when I grew up, what we did in San Diego, because the fireworks are illegal, we'd usually go to either climb like a mountain somewhere and watch, you could see a couple fireworks shows, but the high schools down in San Diego would do fireworks shows. And I believe this was at a high school, it was on a football field, and people are just in this, and we'd sometimes go to the high school, you sit in the stands there at the football field, yay, fireworks. A few years ago, Simi Valley, they had their platform like fall over, and it started shooting fireworks at the people sitting in the stands. These are explosives. I don't understand our obsession with explosives here in America, and the fact that we have to constantly learn from seeing these things happen. When can we just stop? And I highly, highly recommend people start using drones instead. Drones are not going to explode. Have you seen some of the drone like those are actually impressive as opposed to just some silly, colorful explosions in the air. I'm really hoping that we see more and more of that. Oh man. I know everyone that listens to this show is very, very into fashion and high on fashion. As you can see if you're watching the video with my Bomb Pops, not Bomb Pops the band, but my Bomb Pops collared shirt here, button-down shirt, specifically worn for the 4th of July. So yes, I am very into high fashion. Not really. But for those of you that are, you may have seen that Ralph Lauren, I believe it's Ralph Lauren, I don't know. That's how much I know about fashion. Put out a new line of Major League Baseball gear, and it's featured at Bloomingdale's. So if you are in need of a $500 Ralph Lauren Major League Baseball team jacket, that would be the place to go. And from a like honestly, you don't need a $500. The expensive, authentic, on-the-field jackets, like the stuff that the players wear, you're not going to pay $500 for that. But because it's got Ralph Lauren on it, we're going to spend $500 on it. This is all that ridiculous. And it's always Bloomingdale's. Bloomingdale's was the brand that had like the worn down white sneakers years ago, and it's like, look like you like no. What are you doing? That's insulting. And this is also insulting because they have their hats, which are going for like $80 on there. They're New Era hats. For those of you familiar with New Era, I don't know a lot about fashion, but I do know New Era hats. They're New Era hats, and if you were to go to like the MLB shop, the same hat's going to run you about $30. So you're paying about $50 extra for this Ralph Lauren signature on the brim of the cap. For those of you that are familiar with sports, I got some signed stuff right behind me. Usually you have players sign things, not clothing designers. But apparently we're going to sell overpriced hats because it has Ralph Lauren's signature on it. Oh, man. Fashion. I don't understand it. Like, I wear fashion from a company called Stupid Rad, and it's really rad. Okay, Liquid Death. Love Liquid Death. If you're not familiar with Liquid Death, go sell your soul to Liquid Death for a case of water. This is canned water, for those of you not familiar with it. They actually sponsor a lot of, they've been sponsoring a lot of streams. They work closely with a lot of punk bands, punk rock bands, ska bands, and the likes of those type of bands. But they got into, I wouldn't even say some hot water, no pun intended. And it's funny, I believe this was Jen Pops from the Bomb Pops, her dog that was featured in it. There's a short video of a dog drinking Liquid Death. Now, it's in a can, so yes, it is canned water, but it's Liquid Death water. And somebody came on and said, "Why are you giving a dog beer? Please don't do that. That's animal abuse." Now, luckily, Liquid Death came back and said, "It's all good. It's water. We are called Liquid Death water. Just because it's in a can doesn't mean it's beer." So use some common sense when you're out there watching social media and looking at things, and especially before you complain, because the dog was drinking water, not beer. And apparently beer is bad for dogs, but it wasn't beer. So don't feed your dog beer. I don't know. But go ahead and feed them Liquid Death water, because it's water. It's spring water. It's probably better than the water that they'd be drinking out of the tap, depending on what city you're in. We have excellent tap water here in Los Angeles. It's crazy. You wouldn't think city water, but we have excellent tap water here in Los Angeles. It's one of those crazy things that's always shocking to me. All right, entertainment news. We're going to get through some of this and then finish it up because I got to go have a hot dog somewhere. Hot dogs seem to be the unofficial 4th of July food. I'm not even a huge hot dog fan. I prefer a brat if I'm doing, something along those lines. Or give me a burger. Love a good hamburger or a brat or, maybe an Italian sausage. Hot dogs, a little overrated for me. I'll eat them. I mean, who doesn't eat a hot dog? But definitely just a little overrated for my taste, But I'll probably still eat some hot dogs today. Hurricane Elsa, which has now been downgraded to Tropical Storm Elsa, is headed for Florida. I believe they were already getting some of that weather. Now, this isn't something to joke about. Hurricanes are very serious. I literally have a grandmother-in-law who is 98, who is on the coast of Florida, like on the coast. There's some pictures coming of me standing, like right outside of the condo that my father-in-law owns right there. So I don't mean this from a joking manner, but as soon as I saw the name of the hurricane and the fact that it was coming for Florida, all I could envision was Disney sending a cease and desist letter to the National Weather Service insisting that they change the name of the hurricane from Elsa to anything else. And for those of you enjoying that joke, you will be reminded that Disney will send a cease and desist letter for the silliest little things, including a preschool who may have painted Mickey Mouse on their wall. So I wouldn't be shocked if they were sending a cease and desist letter to the Hurricane Elsa, just because that's not good branding for them. Oh, we got some new Funko Pops announced. If you look at the still photos, because you don't get them in the video, but I got some Funko Pops back here. Oh, there's Funko Pops right here. There's a Deadpool Funko Pop that you can see in the video. I like Funko Pops to an extent. I buy them. I don't buy full sets like a lot of people. I don't have a full wall of them. I just have some. I get the ones that I like. That's why there's I have the full Mr. Robot set. That's the only full set I have. But we had some new ones announced this week, and it was Green Day. All 3 members of Green Day in their American Idiot attire. They're available for pre-ordering right now. I believe they come out in August. I did pre-order my Trey Cool one. See, I didn't even get all 3. I was just like, give me the Trey Cool one. So I'll add it to my collection. It'll probably sit next to the Mark Hoppus Funko Pop that I have up there. I've just only got a few of the musical ones. Most of them are like Henson and stuff. I have the giant Labyrinth Ludo back there. I don't. You look through the photos if you're interested. But my collection pales in comparison to a lot of people that I've seen. But Trey Cool is going to be added to that collection at some point in August when my pre-order goes through. All right, hot dogs. Like I said, the unofficial food of 4th of July here in the United States of America. So, of course, we had the hot dog eating contest there in Coney Island this morning. Joey Chestnut broke his own record of 75 hot dogs by eating 76 hot dogs in whatever amount of time that is that they get to eat them. They put this thing on ESPN Now, I can respect competitive eating to an extent. You want to call it a sport, a spectator sport, that's fine. What I will say is if you've ever watched it, it's quite disgusting. I have zero interest in ever. Every year I hear about it, and then ESPN sends breaking news. They're like, Joey Chestnut, or there was Kobayashi used to be like the man when it came to hot dog eating. Broke the record, won the hot dog eating contest, and blah blah blah. I would not recommend watching it. You're watching people shove food down their throats, and a lot of times they like to dip it in water. It's just disgusting and messy. Spit flying everywhere. Definitely not good in COVID times, which in fact they did it like indoors last year apparently. I don't follow it enough, but apparently they did it indoors and they were able to go back outdoors this year. So hopefully people standing in that crowd didn't catch too much flying hot dog remnants from people that are shoving it down their throats there. Not a fan. But congrats on setting a record, 76 hot dogs. I'd be sick for 3 weeks if I had ate 76 hot dogs. If I ate 76 hot dogs over the course of 3 days, I'd be sick for months. So I mean, respect in that when it comes to, I guess you got to train your body somehow, but no thanks. Don't want to do it or watch it. Masters of the Universe, new animated series coming to Netflix. New trailer dropped this week. For those of you not familiar with it, I am a little biased because it is by Kevin Smith, the great Kevin Smith. And it looks like fun to me. I really enjoyed the trailer. Now, here's the thing for me is kind of my very first, toy obsession. Not even real obsession, but the toys that I was getting, my first toys as a kid, action figure-wise, were He-Man. Had some of the He-Man figures and stuff. Had friends, we all played with the He-Man figures. And I did watch the show as a younger kid. Haven't seen it in years, but I did watch it. However, I'm not super passionate about the dogma that is Masters of the Universe or He-Man or I can't even pull out the name of the fictional kingdom they live in. So I'm sure people are going to have some bad things to say about it, but I'm excited. It's coming out July 23rd, and I will enjoy watching that simply because it's Kevin Smith, and you've also got. I believe Mark Hamill's voice is in there, as well as Jason Mewes. And, of course, I love me some Jason Mewes. Got a big-ass J sitting right there on the other side of that monitor. If you don't know what a big-ass J is, check it out, because mine's even signed by Jason Mewes. No messing around with that. Got it from the stash that used to, the Jay and Silent Bob stash that used to exist here in Westwood. It's good stuff. It's one of my most prized possessions, I would say. Maybe not, but close to it. I enjoy that thing. Had it for a long time. Long enough because that stash has been closed for years, and I got it when it first opened. And it's just because Jason Mewes was just hanging out. I smoked a cigarette with him outside the store. I got a picture with him flying around here somewhere. I don't think it's actually framed, but it's flying around here somewhere. So I'm going to enjoy that. Not a hardcore fan, but I think it's going to be good. And to finish out entertainment news and let you all enjoy your 4th of July for those of you that are celebrating, or just enjoy your Sunday if you're not here in Merica. Is some music for today. If you want to avoid the country songs and all that ridiculousness, the great band Less Than Jake, God, I love me some Less Than Jake. They have an album called Anthem that came out in 2002 or 3, early 2000s. Has fireworks on the cover, has some fireworks sounds throughout it. That could be your soundtrack for the day if you want to avoid all of the, proud to be an American and all that other stuff. That's fine if you like it. Fine. I can't do the country music. For the love of God, I can't do the country music. I'm sure I'm going to have to hear some Bruce Springsteen at some point today. I can deal with that. None of the country music. So highly recommend Anthem by Less Than Jake as your soundtrack for this fine 4th of July. Like I said, if you are celebrating this fine American, it's not American, it's more of an American holiday. Because that's what we do here. When we set explosives off, we get drunk and eat hot dogs to celebrate America. Always amusing to me. Try not to eat 76 hot dogs. And then, of course, I go to the Blink-182 song where Grandpa ate 7 hot dogs. That's a little inside one for the 5 of you that are Blink fans. There's only 5 of you. I've counted. Based on the 15 to 20,000 listeners, there's only 5 Blink fans. I'm just kidding. There's actually probably more. That is going to do it. I'm ready for hot dogs and maybe a beer. Brace myself for some explosions as I spend the latter part of the evening sitting on my porch with a hose, like an old man. Like, get off my lawn, fireworks. So that's how I'm going to be, but I'll do my best to enjoy it. And hopefully my kid will be able to enjoy a little bit of the fireworks and not be too freaked out. And maybe I will actually get some sleep tonight. We'll see how that goes. So on that note, Wall fans, don't forget to follow us on all the social platforms. Facebook.com/GoTellItToTheWall. Again, Facebook.com/GoTellItToTheWall. Follow our Facebook page there. Of course, YouTube. Head on over to YouTube, search Go Tell It to the Wall, subscribe to our channel. All of those great videos are up there. We're making a big YouTube push. I got some new content coming out on YouTube as well. And my own Instagram account, which is at SoCalSean, SoCalSean. That's right, at SoCalSean. Lots of new photos going to be going up there this week, so make sure you check that out. Most importantly, SeanO'RourkeLive.com, going to give you links to all those things I just mentioned, as well as exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, including our Patreon page and our merch page. So pick up some great merch or support us on Patreon if you have the means to do so. All right, on that note, Wall fans, Common Sensors, podcast consumers, this has been episode 51 of Common Sense Sundays with Go Tell It to the Wall. I am, of course, your absolute favorite podcast host, the one and only Sean O'Rourke. And remember, Wall fans, especially on this fine 4th of July here in America, no matter what you do, no matter who you're with, no matter where you go, and especially no matter why you are doing it, always use common sense.